Hi, my name is Dave Twardowski of the Mid-Atlantic Sportsman. I got the big game cameraman, Plasmier, from the Outdoorsman's Voice here today. It's the middle of March and we're getting ready to do some freshwater fishing in a pond in Southern Delaware. We'll be fishing for pickerel, largemouth bass, and hopefully some crappies as well. Like I said, it's the middle of March. It's been a little cooler the last couple of days, but it's about the mid-50s right now. It's supposed to get up near 60 today, so we should have a good bite. What we're planning on using this time of year, one of my favorite lures is a MEP spinner in size number 3. It's a really bright day today, so we're going to be using some bright, shiny colors. We do have some darker colors too, in case some clouds move in. If they don't work, which I doubt that'll happen, but we might try some stick baits, and later in the day we may try some really big stick baits to try to get some big pickerel. We're in a pickerel contest on the Outdoorsman's Voice, so I really got to beat all those guys and go after the big ones. After we catch enough bass and pickerel, we're going to move on to some crappie fishing. I use the same MEP spinners for those, just the smaller sizes. What we'll actually be doing is, because these are so small and light and hard to cast, we'll be doing some slow trolling with the trolling motor for them. So stay tuned for a great day. So right now I'm using a number 3 blade MEP spinner. It's shallow water, it's only about 3 foot deep. A lot of lily pads and stuff in here. Bass and pickerel like to hang out in. Bright sunny day, so I'm using a bright yellow color. If you look around, there's a ton of lily pads, and as we get further this way, some flooded timber and stumps, and lots of different places for the fish to hang out. It's a little cooler this time of year. Usually find them a little deeper. There's fish on right there. Nice pickerel. So this is a pretty good size one. I'm going to try to get him in the net so we can get a nice measurement on him for the pickerel contest. Nice little jump there. And in the net. It's a great start to the day. About the 5th cast. Nice big pickerel. These guys have some sharp teeth on them, so we're going to use the pliers here to get the hooks out of his mouth. I'm going to set up our measuring tape here so we can show all the guys on the Outdoorsman's Voice how big this one is. Got a little bit of net as teeth. There we go. Nice pickerel there. Get a quick measurement on him before it flops away. They are really slimy and don't like to sit still. So this is a nice one right at about 20.5 inches there. I'm going to take a quick picture of him and get him back in the water. So good start to the day. So we just caught our first pickerel today and getting ready to hit another spot full of lily pads. Like I said, it's the middle of March, so it's still pretty early in the year, but we've had some warm weather the last couple weeks. It's really got the fish pretty active. Coming off that cold weather, they're going to be looking for some easy meals. Expect to catch some more pickerel as well, some largemouth bass. Hopefully getting us some nice crappies a little later. So it's pretty shallow. It's only about 2 to 3 feet deep in most areas we're fishing. You see the lily pads starting to come up around it. I like bringing the lures right through the middle of the pad. Sometimes the treble hooks will get hung up on them, but a lot of times right after you pull it off the lily pad, you'll get fish. Spots over here. Here's another fish. Looks like another pickerel. We got some nice one out there. Right in the middle of all those lily pads, he was hanging out. Nice jump there. Looks close to the same size. He really ate this lure down deep. So we're going to try to get the net under him before he bites us off here. And there's number 2 for the day. Looks a hair smaller than the last one, but still a nice fish. Those pickerel love these MEP spinners. Part of it, I think, is the vibration they put off in the water. So I'll open his mouth for us. Well, this one's being difficult, but here's a decent shot of it. Like I said, this guy's a little smaller than the last one, so we're going to let him go without measuring him. Look for his big brother. So both those pickerel hit same Black Fury style MEPS #3 blade. Said it's a bright day, so I like the bright tail. I have another color in here. It's got a real shiny blade we're going to switch to next after we use this one for a while longer. Every time you catch a pickerel, you want to check your line, because if they get any of that teeth on it and fray it up, next time you set the hook, it's a good chance it could break. And you don't want that to be the reason you lose a big fish. So that still feels pretty good, so we'll keep casting. Get ready for the next one. So we changed up the color of our lure here. Went to a more shinier gold blade here, same style, same size MEPS. This bright sunlight today, we're going to hope that entices a few more bites. Still working the same depths, 2 to 3 foot right on the edge of the channel, right in all the lily pads. We're going to work this all the way down the pond, and then we might come back up and drift down a little shallower next time, in a different area. But fish this time of year tend to be a little on the deeper side. It's really windy today, so I thought about maybe using some jigs or rubber worms, but it gets a little harder to keep the boat in the right position to use those and you have a fish lower. Using a bait like a spinner bait or inline spinner or jerk bait, you can cover more water and don't have to fish as slow. It's easier to do in these windy conditions. So we just cast out here towards the middle of the channel, hooked another fish. Haven't seen what it is yet. Feels pretty nice. Get him away from this log. Looks like our first bass of the day. Nice large mouth. Decent sized fish. We switched up to that gold colored MEPS, and this is our first fish on it. Not a bad bass. About a solid pound, maybe a little over. You like that MEPS gold blade there. Not a bad little guy for our first one of the day. I'm going to throw him back and catch some more. Up another fish, pulling him out of the middle of these lily pads here. Not sure what it is yet, haven't seen it. Looks like a really small pickerel. Not as big as those two we caught before, but still a nice little pickerel. Pete was telling me of all the fish he's filmed so far, all the steelhead and tuna and saltwater fish and freshwater fish, he hasn't filmed anybody catching a pickerel yet, so we've knocked that one off his list so far today. Nice little guy. Won't bother measuring him, but had a good afternoon so far with 3 pickerel and a nice bass. We're battling a little more wind here than we thought. It's pushing us down the pond. Good pace. Here's another fish on. Not quite sure what this one is either. Try to pull him out of the pads. This one feels a little better. That's a nicer pickerel, I think. Looks about the same size as the first two we caught. Not much bigger, maybe a little smaller even. So I'm going to lift him in real fast. That's a nice pickerel, probably close to a 20-inch fish. Got this nice guy in Southern Delaware. Nice healthy, about 18-inch pickerel. Nice big mouth on there. You can kind of see the teeth a little better on that guy. So definitely don't want to mess with the teeth on these guys. Actually call these chain pickerel. He slipped out of my hand. So on the next one we'll show you the chain pattern going down their side. That's why they call them chain pickerel. We're still focusing on the deeper edge of weeds here. That flat up there that looks nice and wind protected is actually really, really shallow and hard to fish, so we're going to avoid that, although it does look really nice. There's no wind. Another fish on. Looks like another, I think this one's a bass. Chunky bass. A little smaller than the last one, but Nice healthy bass, just under a pound probably, somewhere in that range. So now we're starting to catch some bass mixed in with the nice pickerel we've caught so far. Hopefully we'll catch one about twice that size too. So you can see this lasts about 5 minutes here working this deeper edge. We caught 3 nice fish, and there's another one. Next cast. Not sure what this is yet, haven't seen him. Coming up on top of the water there, another pickerel. A little smaller this time, but nice sized pickerel. And this one looks a little funny. It's either got something in his stomach or something tried to grab him. See here, I don't know if it was a turtle or bigger pickerel, something tried to grab that fish. Pretty recently too. So we're gonna be careful to avoid his teeth as well, because even the little ones hurt. Let this guy go. Just set the hook on another one out here. Another pickerel looks like coming to the surface. Still in the same general area. And this looks like about the same size pickerel we just caught. Now, these little guys I don't mind just lifting in the boat, but the big ones I always use the net so I don't break the line. Got this guy right in the corner of the mouth, which is good. Sometimes these pickerels swallow it down deep, and then it's really tough to get the hook out, and they got a good chance to break the line. So what I was saying on the last one is they have these markings on them that almost look like chains going down the side of their body. That's why they call them chain pickerel. So going through a nice little stretch here, catching 4 or 5 in a short amount of time. And we're actually a little shallower than we caught them earlier, so we may stick to this shallow water as we keep heading down the pond. Just hooked into another fish here. Looks like another pickerel. It's about our 5th one in a row. Nicer one here. It's the middle of March, just after St. Patty's Day. The water temperature's still a bit cold, in the mid-50s. It's also about mid-50s right now, air temperature, here in Southern Delaware. And these fish are being very active today after this cold winter. Bright sun right in the middle of the day, almost 12:30 right now. And these fish are very active hitting these spinners. This guy swallowed it down fairly deep, but not too bad. Another nice
fumble.
Another nice Southern Delaware pickerel. Just set the hook on another fish. This one's actually a nicer largemouth bass here. Nice dark lines on him. This fish is probably the biggest bass we caught today, a little over a pound. Fell for that same MEP spinner. It's the middle of March. Fish are nice and cold coming out of those mid-50s water. That's why I really love the inline spinners this time here. It's a little smaller bait than a traditional spinner bait, and that vibration really gets them going. Add that little bit of flash, this bright sun today with that gold blade. We've been getting a lot of bites. Caught a couple fish earlier on a dark colored blade with a bright tail. Kind of switched that over, and it seems like we've had even more action since then. There's another fish. Oh, he's stuck in the lily pads though. He came off. So a lot of times when you fish in these lily pads, you'll get one that get you hung up on a lily pad. They'll use that to pull themselves off. So we're going to keep drifting down the channel here, right in the middle of all these lily pads. Still looking for that big 26 or 28 inch pickerel to knock off all those guys on the Outdoors Boys. Hopefully we'll find him today. There's another fish on. I don't think this is him. It doesn't feel too big. Looks like another little bass. This guy's a little smaller than the last one, but very hungry and aggressive guy. He swallowed this thing down pretty deep. Easy popped him off there. Nice Nice healthy little largemouth. Like I said, I can't say enough about this time of year and this inline spinners. Everything in the pond will hit them. So far we've caught some nice pickerel and a few bass. Hopefully we'll find some nice big crappies. In a little while we're going to do some slow trolling for those with the same style spinners, just a little smaller. They have the channel pretty well marked here going down here with these PVC poles. Oh, another fish on. And that fish hit it right as I stopped to point out these poles. Grabbed another bass. This guy's a nice one. Another really dark lines on him. It's funny how the same body of water, the fish look almost completely different. Some are really light, some have those dark lateral lines. Just hooked up with another fish, trying to pull him through all these lily pads here. He's getting stuck in every one, it seems like, and the little bass, not very big, but he's coming in with half a lily pad on him. And you see here, if you're in the lily pads, you're in a good spot to catch some fish. As you can see, hopefully we'll drift right down the middle here and I can hit all these different spots. So we're moving down towards this end of the pond. This is a really long and kind of narrow pond. It goes down almost a mile this way once it... Right next to the boat, we just had a pickerel hit. That was pretty cool. Oh, he got caught in some lily pads, but got him out. Another about average sized fish, but he hit right next to the boat. So I was trying to say that this pond gets really narrow up here. I don't have much luck this time of year down in the pot, down that way, but as we get closer to it, I fish these edges. And then later in the year, it's really thick and really a lot of brush and wood in there. It's a good for jigs and rubber worms. So there's another nice chain pickerel, about 15 inches. I'll let him go. Keep working these lily pads until we get down this real thick stuff. So we actually moved down the other end of the pond. Just hooked up with another fish here. Looks like a pretty good fish. Nice strong fish here. He's got some weight to him. Haven't been able to see what it is yet. I think it's a pickerel. I'll move to the other side here. Definitely a strong fish, stronger than one so far. Nice size pickerel. We'll get the net out for this guy. He looks close to the size of the ones we caught earlier, maybe a little bigger. We got him in the net.
That's a nice fish. That's a nice fish, Dave.
So on the Outdoorsman's Voice, there's a lot of hunting and fishing competitions, and I'm in a pickerel competition right now with my partner Ted B. So hopefully this one's a little bigger than the one we caught earlier, which was just at 20.5 inches. Upgrade us a little bit. He's going to be close. This guy is right at 21.5. So a little bigger than that first one. We're going to take a quick picture of him. This is our biggest pickerel of the day. As I said earlier, I'm in the Outdoorsman's Voice pickerel contest. And then you can see my website here, the Mid-Atlantic Sportsman. Turkey Boy 44 put this contest together. I think he wishes he had pickerel this nice in South Jersey. But this is a Southern Delaware pickerel. And this is a good one for the contest, right at 21.5 inches. Hopefully we'll find a little bit bigger one. We hooked up to another fish out here in the same gold spinner meps. Looks like a largemouth bass this time. A little bit decent. A little bit bigger than the last few. Chunky guy. He's solidly over a pound. Pushing 1.5 pounds, I'd say. Probably our biggest bass of the day. We haven't caught any huge ones yet. We're going to get a nice picture of this guy next to our logos here. Hi, my name is Dave Twardowski of the Mid-Atlantic Sportsman. It's the middle of March and we're on a pond down here in Southern Delaware. Right now we're doing a little crappie fishing. We have 2 lines out. We're doing a little slow trolling up with some inline spinners and spoons. Doing it a little different than the traditional way of jig or live bait with minnows and worms. I found this technique to be particularly effective down in this area. Right now we're using the big engine to go push this up against the wind, trying to keep it anywhere from 2 to 1.5 to 2 knots. Going right down these channel edges looking for some slab crappies. Got something. That's a fish. Feels too heavy to be a crappie.
Might be that big turtle, Dave.
I don't think so. Crappie trolling here, but I think we hooked something that's not a crappie. Another pickerel. Oh my goodness, look at that fatty. He just ate something. He was still hungry for more. Let's get a video of this guy here. Look at what's in his belly. Sticking out like that. I'm not sure what it is, but he just ate and he was hungry for more. Let him go digest his food a little bit. We're trolling for crappies again here. We just hooked up to another fish. Unfortunately got stuck in some lily pads, but I got him out. I'm not sure what it is yet. We're using a little spoon. I was hoping for a nice slab crappie, but I think we caught another pickerel. Just can't keep the pickerel off the lines today. Even these little tiny spoons we're using for crappies, this pickerel loves them too. It's not a bad size pickerel either.
That's a nice fish, Dave. That is a nice size fish.
Nope. It's flopped off the hook there, which is actually the easiest way to get these pickerel off because they have such big teeth on them. Get him next to the minute or the Outdoorsman's voice sign. It's a big pickerel. Big pickerel hitting a little tiny crappie spoon. That's not a crappie. Gotta get him out of the lily pads. It's again on the crappie rod, but it doesn't seem to be another crappie. Putting an awfully big bend in this rod. This looks like a big bass. So we're going to change the name from crappie trolling to pickerel and bass trolling. Ever since we put on these little spoons and started to catch some crappies, we've ended up with more pickerel and now this nice bass. That's a solid 1.5 pound bass. Let him go and we'll drop the line back out. Hopefully find our crappie size of it. Just casted this line back out after trolling. We're hoping it's a crappie. And if I can get him in the boat, it is a crappie. So after all that trolling, just cast it back out with that gold crappie spoon. Ended up catching a nice, he's not the biggest crappie in the world, but you know, he's a nice eating size crappie if we were keeping him today. We're not really catching enough to make it worth keeping him, so I think we're going to let this guy go. Come back and when they're really biting and we're catching some nice ones, have a nice fish fry. That's a nice healthy crappie. Took that gold crappie spoon. We're going to let him go and try to catch another one. Just hooked up another crappie when we trolling through here on our crappie spoon, bringing them up now. This one looks a little bigger than the last one. I lift him in the boat. Oh yeah, that's a nice sized crappie right there. If we were keeping them today, that one would definitely be going in the box. So we got some nice bass and pickerel today, and this is our second crappie of the day. Pete, the big game cameraman, likes filming new fish. This is his first time getting any crappies on film. He also got some nice pickerel on film for the first time today. This is a nice one, a little bit bigger than the last one. If we were keeping him, he had a couple nice fillets on him for a fish fry. But we haven't caught too many today, so we're going to let him go and come back and catch him more, catch a few more. That's a fish. We just hooked up another fish here, trolling for crappies. I'm not quite sure what it is. It feels pretty heavy. I'm not sure if it's a crappie or not. Usually those crappies come right to the surface, although I think this might be a big crappie. Yes, it is. So this, oh! Dang, right there. I'm sure Pete got that one falling off the hook. That was a nice crappie. It's a shame we didn't get him in. But there definitely seems to be some more crappies down this end of the pond than the other end. Alright, fish on. We just hooked up with another fish here, trolling for some crappies. See what it is. I believe it's another crappie. Oh, it is. And this is a nice crappie too. That's a nice crappie.
South Delaware, Dave, talk to me.
We're in Southern Delaware, in the middle of March. Doing a little crappie trolling right now. Started off slow up the other end of the pond, but that is a nice eating size crappie right there. So I had the last couple bites were on the gold crappie spoon. That one was on the silver. So that's a nice fish. Again, if we were keeping him, he'd be a nice couple fillets off that guy. So we'll let him go and catch him next time. Hopefully catch a couple more. Oh, just as I said that, I'm fishing on this one now. This feels pretty heavy. Not sure what this is, but this is a crappie. It's a nice one too. I think this is a bass. Yep. This is what happens when you're trolling for crappies. You catch some bass and pickerel as you have seen us do already. Can't complain, they're still fun to catch. Fish on. Just had a hit on the gold crappie spoon. I'm not quite sure what it is. Feels pretty strong, but you know, kind of like a crappie. And it looks like a bass. We went through that crappie hotspot and ended up hooking this bass. We just had a bite right before it too. Not quite sure what it was. Just hooked up again here on the crappie troll. This fish feels a little nicer. Not quite sure what it is yet. Get him in the boat here. It's a nice little bass. Not a bad sized bass, but not the average size we've been catching today. Take him off the hook here. So we're wrapping up our day here down in Southern Delaware. I want to give a shout out to all the guys in the Outdoorsman's Voice with Meat on a Stick, Quackhead, Tom C, Big Bucks, and all those guys. We had a great day down here in Southern Delaware with Pete, the Big Game Cameraman. I'm going to let this little guy go, get packed up, and head on home. Hope you enjoy the video.